Hey everyone, Cyber Bunny here. Okay, so I was asked to redo the tutorial on how I make an avatar from start to finish, so we're going to get started. This is going to be for me, I guess. I have a thing for the little hats. Anyway, I start off with my canvas size at 855 by 588, and I'm going to stretch this out. Alright, first we're going to do is we're going to put textures on her. She's black and white, so it's fairly easy to do. Oh, wait. One of my pictures. Stock. Normally I make my own textures, but I don't want anything too crazy on this one. So I am just going to go ahead and use textures that I've found. And I had one in mind, and I cannot. Should have been a little bit more prepared. Here we go. I'm going to use two from this one. I'm going to use this one. So we're going to start out with this. And we're going to make sure that the layer is rasterized. And we're going to go ahead and pull down the opacity pretty low. Now this is what I do. I use masking to cut my model out. I find a soft brush, so the size, I usually try and make it fairly large, but not too large because my flow is at 100%. So about here, which is about 99 pixels, and the hardness is at 0 because I use a really soft brush. And I keep my opacity down low. And then I just start to color her in. Using black paint because anything in black will erase, anything in white will add on. This makes erasing a lot easier. I know in PSP they have a fill-in button with the erase tool, so they're pretty lucky when it comes to that. In Photoshop we don't get that, so we learn to do our own nifty little tricks. Now, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and fill her in, get her pretty. And if you keep the opacity at least to the point where you can see that the color is changing, then you know you're erasing her, the background around her. And the reason why I keep the opacity low is because if not, going around the edges is going to become really harsh. But in the end, that's alright too, because we're going to go ahead and I know that there's going to be parts where it's going to look like there's a halo around her, and that's really what we don't want. So the reason why I'm stopping is because I look here and you can kind of see where you're missing spots, because if it's not completely black, it means you're not getting the spots that you're supposed to be getting. So looks like about right there. Alright, now we're going to up the opacity again, but I don't go at 100%. I never go at 100%. So about 86 looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that we've got all the rest around her little ears. Now, I for one am the queen of filters. I love my filters. I don't ever want to stop using my filters. There's some people out there that don't even use filters, and I envy those people because their stuff looks great. But now this brings me to my next thing. Justice actually said this in the room and asked about getting wisps of hair. The reason why I don't go at 100% is because see the little wisps of fur that are around her ears and the fact that it shows up pretty well? That's what we want. I mean, if we just cut around the model and we cut around her, we're not going to be able to keep that, and it doesn't look organic. We want it to look at least like the model was meant to be there somewhat. Now, because I've already used this background in another avatar with the same model, I'm going to put something else on top of that. And find something that'll go with what I've got going on there already. Actually, I really like this one right here. Texturing is actually pretty fun. I mean, you get to play around with different ones and use different blending modes and trying to get, at least something that you're going to enjoy. I'll make sure that's rasterized. I'm going to go with lighten first. Not so much. Let's look at screen. That's a little bit better because we get the little sparklies through. Now, this is where it becomes the easy part. We could just go back through with the brush and the mask again and start masking her out, or if you see this mask right here and you hold down Control and you click on it, it's going to give you that selection. And then once you do that and you have the layer highlighted, you go down to your mask button and click it. Ta-da! It's one step. Let's try and add another one here. To be a smartass, I should actually put a clock in it, but I much prefer not to push my luck. Let's see. Oh, I like this one too. This one, yeah. Again, make sure it's rasterized if it'll let me here. There we go. Let's see. Let's go with lighten. Not so much. Let's look at the screen. A little bit better. There we go, we have that in the background. So again, make sure you see your mask in the window, hold down Control, click on it, make sure that the layer is highlighted, and hit the mask. Alright, so we have all our backgrounds on there. We have it the way we kind of want it to look. And next is the filtering part. We're going to put up a new layer. We're going to apply image. And then we are going to go, and I try and make sure that my color mode is to the RGB. Don't flatten. And then we're going to start with NYX. Now this part you just kind of go through and look at what's going to blend with it a little bit better. Black and white's a little bit harder than when you do with color. I prefer to work in colored images. Actually, I like this one, so we're going to go with that. Next, we're going to start a new layer, apply image, and then we're going to go to Lucius. We're going to keep it on the 4th bubble. We're not going to mess with any of the settings. Click your check mark. And then we're going to lower the opacity, and I go about 30, 29, 30. Depending on the image, you might want to go a little bit lower. Then create a new layer, apply image, and then we're going to go to 0 and radiance. And then again, we're going to lower the opacity right down. Then we're going to go new layer, apply image, and then we're going to go to blur and Gaussian blur. Make sure that it's set to 1.8 pixels. And then multiply and lower the opacity down. And then new layer, apply image, go to our topaz, clean, and here we're going to go to crisp style. Now with crisp style, you are going to want to change your settings. Don't stick with the preset settings. Only mess with your strength and go down. Let's take a look at one first. Not so much. Go down to 0. 0 is much better. We don't want it to look overly filtered with topaz. And then once you're here, you're going to go ahead and erase some of the, like around her eyes and her mouth. Anything that looks like it's going to be overly filtered, erase that out. Alright. And then next what I do is I go ahead and I apply the image again to a new layer. And then this is where I kind of like highlight certain things, like her tattoos. So what I did was I went to my burn brush, and I made sure it's set out shadows, and then at 22%, and I start just kind of clicking away around her fingers where her tattoos are. Just kind of make those pop a little bit. And then once we're done with that, we're going to go into our 0 one more time. We're going to go to porcelain and we don't want this blue hue, so we're going to go ahead and lower this down, take out that blue hue, and apply. And then we're going to name it. Let's see. Now I'm going to go ahead and just keep it at a small. Make sure that the text thing is up close, and then we're going to transform it. So Control T transforms, and then we're going to just make it bigger. You could just continue to play with the size of the font to get it to where you want, but this is just kind of easier. It's a little bit shorter to do. And we got our text in there, and next you can play with styles. Just find something that you like, or something more, rather find something that goes with the image. I mean, you don't want to go with something too funky and have it really take over. You just want to be able to make it pop a little bit. I have a few styles that are my favorites. I actually really like that. That goes. And then put in your extra text. Go with a smaller font. 30 pixels is fine. And then what? I'm going to go ahead and leave that up there. I'm going to change the font to black. And then I'm going to go ahead and lower the opacity on that one. And then I'm going to go Alt and Shift, lower that down. And I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to up the opacity by a little bit. And then move it just a little. And then I'm going to take both and move it down. Probably should have stuck with white on this. Everything is about font placement. Where are you going to put it? Everything else is pretty much easy. Let's go ahead and put in a burn layer. Put this to white. And for S and G's, we're going to go to gradient. If it'll give me my gradient. And then we're going to make sure that the white and clear is clicked. Put this there, and then we're going to go straight across. And then we're going to lower the opacity on this just by a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and put a slight drop shadow on it. Lower this down. Put the size up because we don't want it to be overpowering at the bottom. Raise your distance a little. And this is all just by eyeball. I mean, there is no preset for drop shadow. Just keep going until it looks good. And we've got that. Now we're going to go ahead and make a selection around it. We're going to go ahead and put in a stroke just to tie it all in. And then see how we have the stroke that kind of just goes around the bottom here, but I don't want it on the edge. I think that looks a little tacky, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that edge part of it. And there we go. So this is an avatar twisted style. A lot of it is just continuing to work around the model. If you got to fill more in, fill more in. If you're going to take more out, take more out. I mean, a lot of it's erasing, and then after that, it's font placement. Those are the two big things. Other than that, you're going to have a great piece regardless if you just kind of remember that a lot of it's font placement, because if not, you could kind of kill the whole avatar if you got this huge font and, you know, your extra text or whatever is just right there. So if you have any questions, you go ahead and ask me. I'm more than happy to share what I know or what I've learned. And yeah, there you go. Avatar Twisted Style.